Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. Welcome, my name is Aiden. I am so happy that you are here for a exciting perfume video. It has been a long time coming. I have a very large collection of perfumes. If you've watched my channel at all, you know I have some epic hauls. I'll have some of them linked up above, one of them anyway, or maybe a playlist. So I have a lot of perfumes, and one of my favorite notes is cherry. I love to eat cherries. I love like cherry flavored things. I love the scent of cherry. So I've talked about cherry perfumes quite a bit on my channel, and I have been wanting to do a cherry scent video, like perfumes with a cherry note to them. I just wasn't organized. I didn't have all my perfumes cataloged. I didn't know what notes, like, finally got all of that done. So this is going to be part one, because when I went through and I looked at all of my fragrances that had just cherry, not cherry blossom, but I'm counting both cherry and sour cherry in that, because some of them that I would think are just cherry, they're actually sour cherry. So just the cherry note, I have 26 perfumes in total. So I'm going to do 13 in today's video, and I'm going to do 13 in a future video so that you can kind of get all of the perfumes that I have in my collection, whether I really think they smell like cherry, if it's a prominent cherry note or not. Yeah, so if you are interested, just keep watching, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do consider subscribing. It means so much to me, each and every one of you who have subscribed. Please do let me know your favorite cherry fragrances down below. If you've tried any of these, if you have other ones that you love, let me know that down below, because I'm always on the hunt for some good fragrances. And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. We're going to start with a really obvious cherry perfume, and that is Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. And this one came out in 2018. I got this one in 2019. It was supposed to be limited edition, and I was really nervous about that. And I really wanted it, but this is the most expensive perfume in my collection, and it's a really expensive perfume anyway. And with limited edition, there's no way that you can save up for it or anything. So I did save up for it. They did make it a permanent scent, and I was lucky enough that I could get a whole bunch of discounts on it. So I got it for a significant price, significant sale, and got like cash back and everything. So yeah, really excited about that. The notes in Lost Cherry, top notes are sour cherry, bitter almond, and liqueur. And I should say these are all coming from Fragrantica. That's where I get all of my scent notes from. So the top notes are sour cherry, bitter almond, and liqueur. Middle notes are sour cherry, plum, Turkish rose, and jasmine sambac. Base notes are tonka bean, vanilla, Peru balsam, benzoin, cinnamon, sandalwood, cedar, cloves, vetiver, and patchouli. So there's a ton of notes in this fragrance. I haven't worn all of these fragrances a lot, but this one is one that I have worn quite a bit. And I know this kind of gets a bad reputation for not being long lasting, but I find that it really is long lasting on my skin. I've gotten it to last, 8+ hours, 10 hours. One day I was wearing it. It was in the summer, so like a little hotter, but I had to go take a shower because I was so sick of smelling this, because it was just still so strong and I was still smelling it. So I think it depends a lot on your body chemistry, how long this lasts, because it lasts a really long time on me. Oh, this is so beautiful. This definitely smells like cherry, but this is kind of a creamy cherry. That almond is prominent too. So if you've smelled Perfect by Marc Jacobs, you get that almond. I feel like it's kind of a dry almond, and that's what comes through in here too, but it's mixed with that cherry and that tonka bean and the vanilla. And it smells delicious. It smells candy-like. It smells sweet. I can definitely see how this would be cloying though. So if you don't like super sweet scents, like, I think this is a very sweet scent. There's a lot of things that are weighing it down and making it a little heavier, but the sweetness does shine through. I wouldn't classify this as a sour cherry. Like, that's what shocked me when I realized this was sour cherry, because it doesn't smell like a sour cherry to me. It smells much sweeter in nature. And this one is strong. So when I spray this, usually my spray routine is like on the sides of my neck, on the back of my neck, and on my wrists. I usually put a couple sprays and then I just tap them lightly so that it gets on both wrists, and that's about it. I know a lot of people wear a lot more. Sometimes I'll spray like my shirt, depending on what color the liquid is of the perfume. But yeah, this one lasts a really long time. I'm gonna have to go faster though because this is going to be a really long video. This is a beautiful fragrance. It's very sweet. It has a lot to it. It's not just a straight cherry, but I think it is one of the best cherries out there. All right, the next fragrance, cherry fragrance in my collection is Prada Candy Gloss. Now, this one is another cherry that I love. This one I wear quite a bit more than Tom Ford. It doesn't last as long. That's one reason. And two, it's not quite as, I don't know, it's a little brighter. Let me give you the notes. This was created in 2017, and the top notes are sour cherry and cassis. Middle notes are peach, rose, and orange blossom. Base notes are almond, vanilla, benzoin, heliotrope, and musk. This, to me, is a cherry bomb. Like, this is that sweet cherry candy, like a sour cherry candy. Oh, it's so, so good. And this one I have gotten compliments on. I have gone to, like, during all of the craziness, everybody masked up, and went to lunch with a friend, and the waitress was like, "What are you wearing? That smells amazing." And my friend was like, "Yeah, you walked by and I could smell it." And I love this fragrance. This makes me happy. It is uplifting. It's very bright. It's a very, very bright fragrance. If you like a citrus that's brightening, that's kind of like a cheerful type thing, I think you will like this one. I get a lot of the cherry, and it's like a cherry candy. I don't think this one's too cloying because it's not a heavy cherry at all. People who are not in the perfume world have asked me if I'm wearing like a Bath and Body Works spray. So if you think about how bright those are, how kind of sweet they are, that's kind of what this is. This one I can wear year round. I feel like the sourness lends itself to the winter, but also it's really bright and light, and I can wear it in the heat. Like, this is one I'm going to need a bigger bottle because I just have, like, they have the ounces on the inside, which is weird. This is a 1.7, and I feel like I've used quite a bit of this already because this is one of my most worn fragrances in my collection. It's delicious. This is what, like a sour cherry, this is what I think of when I think of sour cherry. All right, next up is one that I really haven't given much of a try since I bought it. And it's just because I have too many perfumes and I haven't had a chance to really wear it or like been in the mood to wear it, if that makes sense. It is a Dark Cherry and Amber by Banana Republic. Is that going to show up? No, the light is too bright. I'm sorry. It does say Banana Republic Dark Cherry and Amber right on it. It has a beautiful box. It's very nice. This has like a really heavy cap to it too. It feels really nice even though it's a less expensive fragrance. This was created in 2019 and the notes are top notes of sour cherry and pink freesia. Middle notes are praline, however you pronounce it, and cherry blossom. Base notes are red amber and cedar. This is a pretty fragrance, but it is not obviously cherry note to me. When I smell it, I think of it's more of a just gourmand. It has that amber that makes it kind of opulent. If you think of, I almost want to say it's like if Alien, like the amberness of Alien meshed with Lost Cherry, but the amber was a little bit more prominent. I can tell this has some fruit in it, but it isn't an obviously cherry fragrance to me. If I was just blind smelling this, I wouldn't know that this was particularly a cherry fragrance. I think it's beautiful, and it's really nice. It has like a creaminess to it, which I really like. It's pretty, but this is definitely not something I would wear in the summer or the spring. This would be late fall, winter for me because it is a very heavy type scent. So that is Banana Republic Dark Cherry and Amber. It's one that I need to wear some more, but it is nice. But if you're looking for something that's like a cherry obviously cherry fragrance, this is not the one. We're moving into one of my larger fragrance collections for flankers, and I have like 6 in this line that all have a cherry note in them. So I will try to remember to have a timestamp so that you can return to non-Guerlain La Petite Robe Noire fragrances. But yes, I do have 6 of them in my collection, and there's more that I want. But we're going to start with the original EDP. There was an earlier version that came out in 2009, but it is not available. Like, this is the one that you see on shops. This is the one that you hear about. This one came out in 2012, and you do have that beautiful dress there. And the top notes are sour cherry, almond, red berries, and bergamot. Middle notes are licorice, rose, tea, and tafe rose. Base notes are vanilla, tonka bean, anise, patchouli, and iris. This is a fragrance I fell in love with, about 5 years ago now. It's kind of crazy. I first saw these when I went to Disney World, and they have, in France, they have a perfumery, and they have a Guerlain, like part of it's Guerlain, and I saw these bottles, and they were so beautiful. I loved them, and then we started smelling them, and was like, these are lovely, but they're expensive. You can get most of these on the gray market for a very reasonable price. I think Banana Republic, that's where you're going to find that on the gray market as well. And Prada Candy, that one you can find in retailers, but you can also find it on the gray market. And Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, it's a little more difficult to find on the gray market for a decent price. Like, they're listed, but they're not always that much less than retail. This is a really pretty fragrance. This is not my favorite in the line, but I do really like this one. To me, the cherry is a very perfumed cherry. Like, if you took cherries and you kind of made a potpourri, it smells almost kind of like a potpourri type scent because it has all those florals. It has that tea. I don't really get the licorice in here. It doesn't have that sweetness to it, but I do get, like, there's some really heaviness to this. You get that patchouli, you get those things that really ground it, and then you have like the cherry that's just kind of in the middle of everything. So it's not the most prominent note in this perfume, even though it's like the top note. I feel like it's kind of surrounded by everything else. If you put it in like in a bowl, or if you put it in like a sachet, it would be in the center, and then you put everything else around it. So it's struggling to get out. It's not the most prominent note. I do like this one, and I do wear this one, and I love it, but it's not, if you're looking for a super cherry, this one is not it. If you're looking for something a bit more grown up, that the cherry's just kind of there, this one I think would be a good one. It's a little heavy for summer, but I think you could manage to wear it year round if you wanted to, or you could try some of the other options that there are. Next up, we have La Petite Robe Noire. This is the EDT. It has a little dress on it too. Each bottle has a different dress. So this one has a little more summery dress, not quite as heavy. It doesn't have those sleeves, so you know that it is the EDT. This one was also created in 2012, and the top notes are rose, jasmine, green notes. Middle notes are sour cherry, apple, orange blossom, and blackcurrant. Base notes are white musk, patchouli, and white amber. So this was one of the first perfumes that I got in the line. I can't remember if I got this one or the Intense first. I got them both around the same time. I'm not going to be talking about Intense today because it doesn't have a cherry note, but I am planning eventually to get around to doing La Petite Robe Noire collection because I have a lot of them. I have more than you're seeing here. This one is so pretty. This one is definitely much lighter than the EDP. The citruses in here just really brighten it, lighten it, make it much more fruity scent. I really enjoy this one a lot. Sorry, I said citrus notes a second ago, but I meant fruity notes, like that apple. It doesn't smell like apple, but it just makes it lighter. It's much more fresh type of a scent. I see this one working year round. Like, this one is definitely a lovely fragrance. The cherry is there. It's in the fruits. It's not like a super cherry scent, but if you're looking for a cherry scent, this is definitely, I feel, more cherry than the EDP. You can tell that there's cherry in there, and it's like supported by the other notes in here. It's really pretty. The florals in here are there, but they're not too prominent. They let the fruit kind of shine while kind of grounding it, so it doesn't smell sickly sweet or cloying. It's lovely. I really recommend the EDT version. I love it. All right, we're going with one of my more recent purchases from the line. This is Fraiche, and you can see they have that cute little dress with the petal skirt. I love this bottle. I love that it's slightly green. It's just different than the other ones in the color, because the other ones, all of the other ones lean kind of pink, and this one is definitely a departure. Oh, this one was created in 2015. The top notes are lemon, bergamot, mandarin orange, and orange blossom. Middle notes are almond blossom, sour cherry, freesia, Turkish rose, Bulgarian rose, jasmine, sambac, raspberry, strawberry, and peach. Base notes are pistachio, almond, patchouli, tonka bean, white musk, and vanilla. This one has a ton of notes in it, especially compared to the EDP and even, the EDT and even the EDP. This has many more notes. It's really light. I wouldn't say that this is like a prominent cherry note. The cherry is kind of in there. You get the nuttiness in there too. It's a little bit more sweet of a nuttiness than some of the other. I guess I compare everything to Marc Jacobs Perfect when I think of nuttiness now, unless it's like a really kind of sickly sweet. Not sickly sweet, but there's like a couple fragrances that are super sweet with those nutty notes, and that's not this type of. This is a bit drier of it's not a sweet nuttiness at all. This one is really light and refreshing. I wore this yesterday and I really enjoyed it. It was just a nice light fragrance. It didn't last that long. This definitely doesn't last as long as the EDP or the EDT. I find the EDT still lasts on my skin a pretty good time. This one probably lasted 3-4 hours. The other ones last for 5-6+ hours. I really like this one. It's really light. It's refreshing. It's kind of like if you had a sparkling type of a drink. This is what I imagine that it would have a scent of. One of the newer fragrances in the line is Hippie Chic or Legere. It kind of depends on where you're purchasing it. I've seen it listed as both. This has like a lacy dress on there, and it's a very bright pink bottle. Like the bottle itself has an ombre effect to it. I think it's just beautiful. This one, like the original EDP bottle, has like that dye to the glass. Like it's not just a see-through glass like the other two that we talked about. This one came out in 2018. The top notes are sour cherry, almond, rosewater, lime, and lemon. Middle notes are black tea, rose, raspberry, licorice, peach, and peony. Base notes are tonka bean, vanilla, violet, patchouli, and white musk. I love this one. When I got it, I was like so excited. I got this one from Fragrance Net. Most of my Guerlains I've gotten from either Zulily or Fragrance Net, or I found them in store at TJ Maxx and Marshall's. I don't really know, like there aren't any retailers that I would go into that sell these in store, so I might as well purchase them on the secondary market, or not the secondary market, on the gray market and save a little money. I love going in and smelling perfumes and buying perfumes and getting like that experience. But if I don't have that opportunity and I can save money, I'm going to. I love this fragrance. To me, this one is kind of like if the EDT of La Petite Robe Noire and Cherry Prada Candy Gloss like had a baby, that's what this one is. It is very bright, it's light, it's vivacious, it has projection to it. I feel like this one, people are going to smell it and it's going to energize them too. And I really like fragrances that have like the energy to them. It's so good. I do get a lot of the lime and the lemon. Like it feels almost like a Sprite or something. it's not really like a Sprite because that's a little sweet. So if you've ever had Squirt and you know how that grapefruit has like that bite to it, but it's still like sweet and bubbly and it smells so good. That's kind of what I get with this. I feel like if Squirt was a note, this would be the soda. If you don't have Squirt in your country and you're not from the United States, I'm sorry. It's a wonderful grapefruit, artificial grapefruit soda. It's really light. It's really refreshing. This is a great summer scent. I think it's a great spring scent. I probably would still wear it in the winter just because I like it, but it's definitely, I think, does really well in the warm weather. And you definitely do get a cherry note from this. And it's just, it's delicious. I love it. It's one of my favorites in my collection, like of all of my perfumes. All right, next up we have La Petite Robe Noire Plisse. This one I bought on Mercari or eBay, one or the other. It was this secondary seller. They had bought it. They didn't like it, so they sold it. And I was really excited because I got it for, I think, like $30 for the 3.3 ounce. That's a great deal. This one has like the pleats on the dress. It's a little sporty. Almost looks kind of like a tennis dress to me. I mean, not that I've ever played tennis, but when I think about like those type of looks in movies and stuff, that's kind of what I get, like a fashion tennis. This one came out in 2019. The notes are sour cherry, apricot, and mandarin orange. Middle notes are black tea, almond, and rose. Base notes are patchouli and white musk. This one is not as bright as the other two that I just talked about. It's very nice. I feel like if you like the EDT, this one will be similar, but just a little bit different. This has the tea is in here. You can definitely smell like the tea in here. You can smell like the peaches in here. It's not, it smells a little creamier, a little bit smoother than the EDT. The EDT could be, I don't want to say it could be screechy, but it's a little bit more sharp, I guess. This one is really nice. This is one that I definitely need to wear some more because the other ones have taken kind of center stage for me. It's really lovely. I do like this one. I think if you want something that's a little creamier, this would be a good one. I wouldn't wear this one in winter. I feel like this one is more like spring, maybe fall. I don't think, like, it could work in the summer, but it's not one that I really like. When I smell it, I think, oh, like that's a summer scent, something I want to wear in the heat. I think it's, you know, not cold weather, but just like a lovely warm weather. I do like it. I think it's really nice. It has a cherry note in it. So if you like the EDT and you want something just slightly different, I think this would be a good lateral move. All right, this is the last of the La Petite Robe Noire by Guerlain. This is Black Perfecto, and this is a departure from the other ones. Yes, the bottle has the same shape, but you can tell that, one, it doesn't have a dress on the bottle. Two, the bottle is black and has like this label on it. Very different. It also has some little studs around the top. So this one came out in 2017. The notes are sour cherry, almond, and black tea. Middle notes are licorice and rose. Base notes are leather, tonka bean, patchouli, and black musk. This is definitely, like, when it says Black Perfecto, it's black. It is not a light scent. It's not sweet. It's not, like, this is tough. This is like the leather jacket that you're putting on, like the biker jacket, not like just a trendy one. I don't like this fragrance. I'm glad that I only have a 30 ml of it. It's the smallest bottle. This and Fraiche are the smallest bottles in my collection, and I'm really glad that this one, I don't have a larger one, because this is not one that I wear. The leather in this is way too strong, way too prominent. I don't like leather, but it also has like a sweetness to it, which I think must be this cherry. So I feel like you can kind of get all of the notes in here. I feel like you have the sweetness from the licorice and the cherry, and you can get the tea in there too. I'm not sure about, and there's like darkness to it. So I think that must be the black musk and the patchouli, and the tonka bean, like that gets completely lost because I usually like tonka bean, but the leather is really prominent, and it kind of just like, it's if you spilled all of those things, like the tea, the licorice, the cherry, that you kind of like rubbed them into the leather and let it sit out in the heat and kind of bake and like waft up, and then got it like wet, like that's what it smells like to me. I don't like this fragrance. I know a lot of people really like this fragrance. A lot of people like leather notes a lot more than I do. I don't like leather notes. There's only like one fragrance that I know of that I own that has a leather note that I actually wear. I need to, I mean, obviously I don't know every note that's in every perfume off the top of my head, because that would be like thousands of notes. So this is not one that I reach for. It's not one that I wear. It's one that's in my collection solely because it's a flanker and it looks pretty. But yeah, that's the only reason it's in there. I don't like, yes, the cherry is in there, but there's all these other things that are really complicating it. So you might really like it. And if you do, let me know what your thoughts are. So we made it through the Guerlains. I decided to, instead of splitting them up between the two videos, just do them in one big chunk. So next up we have Escada Cherry in the Air. This is a very hard to find fragrance. If you find it on the gray market, you are extremely lucky. I found this on eBay. I put in an offer on it and they accepted it. It came in a tester box. So I was kind of lucky in that regard, but I still think this was like $100, which is a lot for an Escada. And yes, it is a 3.3 ounce, but that's a lot for this brand. This, you do get the cherry, but this is a very artificial cherry scent. Let me give you the notes before I get too ahead of myself. So this was created in 2013. The longer the Escadas go on, the harder they are to find them. So some of them are much easier to find than others. The top notes are sour cherry, raspberry, mandarin orange, and dime, D-A-I-M. I'm not sure about that note. Middle notes are marshmallow, vanilla, orchid, and gardenia. Base notes are sandalwood, musk, white suede, and oak. So I don't really get the white suede in there. That, of course, made me a little nervous when I read that, given what I just said about leather, and they're related. So this one, it smells slightly medicinal. Like if you think of cherry cough drops, like there's some that have, like Luden's were good. I don't even know if you know what I'm talking about, but Luden's cough drops or throat drops, they had like, they tasted almost like candy. They tasted really good. Like you could tell that they were supposed to be cherry. And then there's some throat drops or cough drops that are kind of like a generic candy taste that you can tell they're supposed to have like the essence of cherry in them, but they don't taste like cherry at all. That's kind of what I get with this one. Like the cherry is kind of there, but it's not overly prominent. It's kind of like the idea of a cherry with other things in there. I think the marshmallow and the vanilla are probably adding to that, because it's not like a rich marshmallow smell. Like if you smelled Princess by Killian, like that is a marshmallow scent. This doesn't really give me marshmallow vibes at all. It's pleasant and I like it. It doesn't last a super long time. This is one of those 2-3 hours at most, so you need to respray, which I guess is good because I have the absolute giant bottle. This isn't my favorite Escada fragrance by any means. And it's nice, but it's not one that I would say like search for or try to get and pay inflated price for it. Don't do that. Learn from me. Don't do that. If you find it for like a good price, that's fine. But I don't think this is one that you really need to have in your collection. It's okay. It's not like a true cherry note. It's not like a candied cherry note, which is what I'm looking for. And so this is more like if I was having cough syrup and I wanted to smell like cough syrup. That's a good analogy. It kind of smells like cough syrup. We're getting closer to the end. 3 to go. So the next one that I have is another one that is hard to find, and I know people were really inflating the price, and that really disheartens me because I saw them on sale all over the place in around June, July of 2020. They were everywhere on discount site, not discount sites, but discounted on retailers for half price. And that's when I got it because I felt like the original price of this was pretty expensive. This is Dancing Roses by Viktor and Rolf. This is part of their Magic collection. It's just going to reflect because it's so reflective. It's a very shiny bottle. The bottle does have like little bubbles in it. It's very unique and different. But you can tell it's Viktor and Rolf because it has that little black thing on the side. This fragrance came out in 2017. And the notes, according to like the people who vote on Fragrantica, this doesn't have like notes solidly written down, are sour cherry, brandy, rose, lychee, or lychee, however you pronounce it, because I've heard it both ways, pink pepper, and saffron. This is more unusual than anything that we've talked about so far. Is very different in its nature. When I spray it, I get that lychee or that lychee really quickly. Like that's what I kind of smell first as I'm sitting here sniffing it. And then I feel like the rose kind of mixes in with that. I don't automatically get a cherry scent from this. I don't automatically get brandy from this either though. It's a heavier scent. Like this is not something I would wear in the summer. I thought about wearing this earlier in the summer and I was like, no, it's too much. It's too strong, too heavy of a fragrance. Even though the notes listed don't seem really heavy, it has like a weight to it. It definitely is not a light, springy, happy fragrance. It's not a fruity fragrance. It has some depth to it. I think I'm starting to get a little bit of the cherry, but the cherry is kind of really hidden underneath and it plays kind of peekaboo as it comes and goes. Even though sour cherry is listed as the first note here, I would not classify this or automatically think of this as a cherry scent. Like if I was thinking, oh, I really want cherry, this is not one that I would think of. If I want something that smells, very beautiful and gourmand, slightly heavy but not too heavy, this is what I would go for. Actually, as I'm smelling it, it's reminding me in some ways of Delina. It doesn't smell like Delina, but there's some similarities between the two fragrances. It's pretty, but if you're looking for a true cherry type scent, this is not the perfume that I would tell you to get. All right, next up we have Burberry Her by obviously Burberry. This one came out in 2018 and it has a ton of notes in here. The top notes are strawberry, raspberry, blackberry, sour cherry, blackcurrant, mandarin orange, and lemon. Middle notes are violet and jasmine. Base notes are musk, vanilla, oak moss, cashmere, woody notes, amber, and patchouli. So there's a lot of notes in this one, and I will say the bottle on these are pretty unique. It has that very flat side, and then you have the cap here. Definitely don't get cherry. Like when I smell this, I don't think, oh, it's a cherry scent. I think, oh, that has a lot going on. I will say this is not my favorite fragrance. I actually like Blossom better than this one. And I think part of that is oak moss is not like a note that I like usually. A lot of fragrances with oak moss are ones that I really dislike. But I also I feel like, I know people really love this, but it smells kind of generic fruity to me. Like there's so many fruits in here and so many berries that it's not special to me. Like I don't smell it and go, oh, that's a strawberry fragrance or that's a cherry fragrance, which is kind of how I choose my fragrances a lot of the time. I'm like, I want something strawberry. So if I think of that, I'm going to grab Kate Spade. If I think, oh, I want something cherry, I'm going to probably pick one of these or one of the ones that are in the next video because there's some really good ones in there too. I don't think it's a bad fragrance. Like it's a very nice, sweet fragrance, it's definitely sweet. Like if you don't like sweet fragrances, or like it's, I wouldn't say it's cloyingly, like it's not too cloying. Like it's not a heavy sweetness. It's kind of like a sickly sweet, like when you've had too many sweets, kind of, and then you just like smell, like if you're eating a whole bunch of candies, not sour candies, but just like generic kind of run of the mill, not overly flavorful candies. Have you ever had that as a kid? Like you're eating candies and then all of a sudden you're just like, you smell the candy and you're like, ugh, no. That's kind of what I get from this one. Like it's just, there's so many sweet notes in here that I'm kind of like, it's a bit overwhelming. And then there's some of the, I don't know, the base notes don't really draw me in either. I don't mind patchouli. I don't mind a lot of things. Like I like the vanilla, but I think between the vanilla and all of the berries, cherry gets lost in the shuffle, and it's, I don't know, not my favorite. I know a lot of people love this, so if you love it, everybody like smells different things. So I try my hardest to explain what I get from them, and you may agree with me, you may not. So yeah, not this one. I wouldn't classify really as a cherry, but it does have a cherry note in it. All right, we're on our last one. This one, didn't buy it because it had a cherry note. I mean, some of the other ones I didn't either. This one I bought because, one, it was like $20, and two, it looks like a soda can. It even has like the little soda tab. That's how you dispense. I thought it was a darling, and I was like, I just want this can, and it came with a little fluff ball keychain with it too. This is Missguided, and this is Babe Power. This came out in 2017. There's several in this Babe line, and I have one other in the collection too. There's another one that kind of sounded interesting that I might try to get my hands on eventually. The top notes are sour cherry, rhubarb, pineapple, apple, grapefruit, and pink pepper. Middle notes are jasmine, orange blossom, and peony. Base notes are cotton candy, vanilla, musk, and amber. So there's a lot going on in here. Lots of fruit notes in there. It's funny because I would not have guessed that this had pineapple in it. And I wouldn't guess that it had rhubarb in it either. Because rhubarb, when I think rhubarb, I think of kind of like a sharp note. I really like rhubarb, like strawberry rhubarb cobbler is really nice. I have a couple rhubarb scents that I really, really enjoy. But this doesn't give me that. On first spray, I get like fruit. So maybe that pineapple is mixing in with the other things, because it does smell kind of a little tart but sweet at the same time. But I'm getting the cotton candy, like I'm getting the cotton candy note quite heavily, which is interesting because I don't get cotton candy in a lot of other fragrances. But it also feels like it's really grounded. Like there's the cotton candy, but there's something dark or deeper with that cotton candy. Once again, I wouldn't necessarily classify this as a cherry scent. Like if I was thinking like, what are scents in my collection that have cherry, which is part of the reason why I was waiting till I had my inventory done and had put all my notes in so that I could see, because there are many of these that I would not have thought of as being a cherry note. Obviously, all of the first perfumes that I talked about, like I knew those were automatically cherry fragrances because I knew La Petite Robe Noire dealt with cherry a lot. I knew that Lost Cherry, obviously, dark cherry and amber, obviously, Cherry in the Air, obviously, Prada Candy Gloss. I knew that was a cherry scent, which is part of the reason I got it. And then I started, like, I really am enjoying that collection a lot more than I used to. That was not a line that I was really interested in before that one came out. So, like, I knew that I had some, but there are some of them that were really a surprise as I was looking through my list and pulling them, and I was like, oh. So I wore this the other night, just, you know, around the house in the evening, a few hours before bed. It's definitely one that probably 3-4 hours before bed I put it on, and it was one that I wanted to wash off before I went to bed because it's a little too stimulating. Like, it definitely is uplifting. It's really pretty. This and Prada Candy Gloss are probably the most juvenile of all of them, although Escada kind of has that too. It's really pretty, but I think if you want something, like, if you feel like you want something with more gravitas to it, this isn't a scent for you. I really like this one though. Smelling it now, I'm like, I want to wear this one a lot more because I really am enjoying that cotton candy and kind of fruity notes in there. But once again, not automatically one that I think of when I think of cherry notes. So that is it. That is the first 13 cherry fragrances in my collection, but I will have a part 2 to this video. I have 13 other fragrances that have cherry or sour cherry notes in them, and I can't wait to talk to you about them too. There are some that I'm very excited. Some of my favorite fragrances are also in that. Like, this is one that there's a few that I was like, huh, I don't really like that fragrance. I didn't realize I had cherry. And then there's some that are like, I'm doing cherries. I get to talk about my favorite perfumes, and I'm very excited. So let me know if you've tried any of these fragrances, what your thoughts are on the ones that you've tried, other cherry fragrances that you hope show up next time or that you think I should try. Let me know all of those down below. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to talk to you next time. Bye.